welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Lara Cotter.
And I'm Sky Orchard.
And we are back with part 2 of our season 2 premiere. I do have a new question for this time, even though the plot's not really different from last time. So at the very end of the episode, Zelda tells Salem that he has to invest the money he took. What do you think Salem is going to invest, or what would Salem invest his money in? And it doesn't have to be something from the 90s, because my answer is not from the 90s.
Salem would invest in the catnip pharmaceuticals.
Oh, okay. Like a weed farm, but for catnip.
Exactly.
I love it. Are we thinking just the growing or also the dispensing?
Oh, dispensing. He would have a suave dispensary. That would be a cool dispensary.
Eventually going chains or just staying local?
He will want to take over the world with his catnip dispensaries. New plan.
My thought of what Salem would invest in would be Bitcoin. Salem would have hopped on the cryptocurrency train really early and then would have eventually created his own scammy meme coin.
Would he have cashed out on the cryptocurrency at the right time? Or would he hold on to it with his grubby little paws?
I think he would hold on to a portion of it, but I think he would cash out on a majority at the right time. But also now I'm wondering if we create our own Salem meme coin for this podcast and that's how we become billionaires.
Or, go to prison. One of the two.
A lot of these people that should be going to prison are not, so... There we go. That's out of the way. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of a short episode. The episode itself was about 2 minutes shorter than a normal, 2 to 3 minutes shorter than a normal one. Because like I said, it is part 2 of our original. So these were originally aired back to back. The title of this episode is Sabrina Gets Her License, Part 2, because I haven't said Part 2 enough yet this podcast.
Is it Part 2?
It is Part 2, not Part 3.
Okay.
Not Part 1.
Good to know. 2.
This is Part 2. Part dos? Part do? Are you trying to think?
I'm doing 2 in ASL for you right now.
I used to know in Korean. I wonder if I can, nope, I can't get there. 2. Our description for this one, for as long as I have Hulu, because Hulu is currently telling me that Sabrina is going to expire off of Hulu in 7 days. But I feel like they've said that before and then they've re-upped it at the last minute. Also, Paramount only has seasons 1 through 4. So if it disappears off Hulu and Paramount does not get the remaining 3 seasons, I guess we're sharing my DVD set. Good thing I bought them.
Oh, what a time.
So while we have Hulu, the Hulu description is, Sabrina learns about the responsibilities that come with using magic when she earns her witch's learner's permit.
Spoilers.
It originally aired September 26, 1997. Like I said, the same night as the first one. Directed still by Gary Halverson. Different writers, though, for this half of the episode. We have Carrie Honningbloom and Renee Phillips from First Kiss on this episode. We have a couple returning guests. So Eric Estrada is back as himself. We have Cece Michaela back as Cece and Bridget Flannery back as Jill. And then a couple new ones. Richard Mall as Sergeant Slater. He was in Night Court, But I'm a Cheerleader, Scary Movie 2, and Jingle All the Way. Andrea Savage is Stacy Fink from Step Brothers, Veep, I'm Sorry, Sweet Valley High, and Dinner for Schmucks. Shannon K. Dunn is the female witch officer. She was in The Practice, Living Single, Seinfeld, and Married with Children. And lastly, Heidi McNeil as Jennifer from Dusk Till Dawn, Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV series, and Welcome to Hollywood. All right, what are your overall thoughts on this second half, Sky?
So the first part 1, not part 2, was definitely the meat and potatoes of the arc, and this is more like condiments, maybe slight appetizer realm, but I'd say it's more just wrapping things up. Fun, but not much depth at all to it.
Like, I know that they had to cut before she got to witch camp. Like, that makes the most sense of a place to split the episode. But like, maybe there could have been a little bit more in this second half. Again, I'm sure they were limited by timing and how long the episode was, but it felt a little bit lacking. There is no cold open on this one. The beginning is slightly edited for time because of syndication. I think in syndication, it either didn't originally include the scene where Zelda buys the laptop or it did. I don't know. I think there's something missing. If you were watching this live, it would start with a Melissa Joan Hart voiceover saying last time on Sabrina and catching you up with the previous episode. My DVDs and the Hulu version just went straight into the outfit intro.
Can confirm it was the same with Paramount as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're missing anything in particular or if but this is just what it is. So we go into that outfit intro, and this outfit intro is the exact same as the one for our first episode of the series, the pilot episode. So we end in the witch outfit where Sabrina says, "This is so not me." So clearly they didn't film a second outfit intro and just use that very first one. So we open on Sabrina overlooking the witch camp. She doesn't want to go, but her aunts say she has to. Hilda had to go and warns Sabrina not to bother fleeing to Canada. The quizmaster appears and pushes Sabrina down into the camp. She parachutes into a reception area where she gets her uniform. And on the back wall in that reception area, there's a Uncle Sam style poster, but a witch in a witch hat. And it's the "I Want You" poster.
I missed that completely.
Yeah, that's in the background. Back home, Hilda is stressed out about this. Zelda seems not to care at all about any of this happening to Sabrina. Like, Hilda is the one that's been showing so much more anxiety than Zelda has.
Hilda had to experience it, but I don't think her time was that bad, given I think she ruled the camp during her time there.
The last episode, in part 1, not part 2, Hilda's the one who's like, we need to tell her, we need to warn her, we need to help her. And Zelda's just like, nope, she has to figure out. Like, Zelda doesn't seem to have any nerves around this whatsoever. To the point where it almost seems like Zelda doesn't care if Sabrina keeps her powers.
It might make her parenting, quote unquote, life easier.
That's true. Zelda decides that to take Hilda's mind off of this, she announces that she's getting a lab.
So Zelda says, "I'm going to buy a lab." Hilda gets excited for a puppy. Salem is all aghast saying, "A dog?" And Zelda says, "No, a laboratory." And then I like Salem's, "I'm not relieved."
Zelda is branching out from physics into chemistry to help the world with things like solving hunger and creating a nail polish remover that doesn't stink. Hilda points out that the dungeon is full and can't fit a lab, but Zelda is going to get a new lab top that can fit on the dining room table. Hilda is disappointed and would rather just invest the money.
Is this the first mention of a dungeon in this house?
I think so.
I hope we get to see it.
Sabrina is at witch camp and tries to make a friend, but it doesn't really go well. Her drill sergeant appears and begins inspection. He recognizes the last name of Spellman, then realizes Sabrina is related to Hilda. He clearly has some trauma surrounding her. He chants them out of the room, and one of the girls turns too soon. Like, she turns a beat before the rest of the girls, so it's not very military precise. Sabrina stays back to ask if she can go to the dance. He seems to be sympathetic at first, but then magically gives her a short military haircut. And on the wall in this room, there's a poster that says, "What you hear here, what you see here, what you leave here, stays here."
Ominous.
Is that a real military poster they have in training camps? Because that seems problematic.
Also, that makes this camp sound so much more fleshed out and cooler than what we actually see.
Yeah.
I wish we had seen more camp.
This season could have just been Sabrina Goes to Camp all season.
Yeah, make it like Cadet Kelly vibes between her and Spink or whatever her name is.
Yeah. The girls return to the room at night, and the sergeant comes back to zap magical deactivators on their ankles, but not before Sabrina has zapped something into her trunk. Later that night, Sabrina grabs her sign for Harvey and a dress out of her trunk, but is caught by the kiss-up recruit, Stacy Fink. She says she's going to tell, but Sabrina points out that getting out of bed would be against regulations. Fink is trapped by the rules, and Sabrina runs off. Which, if Fink is such a rule follower, why is she in the boot camp in the first place? Because it isn't only witches who haven't studied their handbook and failed go to the boot camp.
She's an inside mole. At that point, though, she'd break the rules. So, good point.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. If she's such a suck up, why is she here?
She wasn't initially, this is like her year long term. Maybe she wasn't initially like this for the 2 days, and then she failed yet again and is spending the year sentence.
She could also be a rule follower and just really bad at magic. Maybe she's just not good at magic.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well.
Questions that will never be answered. Add it to the pile. Zelda is showing Hilda and Salem the laptop. Nope, it's just going to sound like laptop. Sorry. But tells them they are not allowed to touch it until she's read the manual.
And Salem has another great line of, "Fire it up and whip me up some hospital-grade catnip."
She leaves, and Hilda and Salem immediately open it up with a, "You push the button. No, you push the button. No, you push the button." Sabrina is sneaking around witch camp grounds where it's very foggy for some reason. She struggles to climb over a chain link fence, but accidentally stumbles through the gate. But the dogs have caught her. She loses her poster in the struggle, but still manages to make it over the wall. Harvey, meanwhile, is at the dance alone looking for Sabrina.
And is not in a maroon or a blue suit, despite the several repeated lines in part 1.
Also, no hats. We left the hat phase in part 1.
I'm not upset about that.
We'll see if they come back later in the season, but there were no hats in part 2. Salem is on the hamper ordering a cat toy over the phone when Sabrina appears through the linen closet. He offers to pick the lock with his dew claw for her, and I feel like we got a reference in season 1 about him picking open the lock on her diary with his dew claw too, didn't we?
Yes, because I went on a tangent about the dew claw.
Okay. Sabrina zaps herself into the girls' bathroom at school, then zaps on a dress and changes her hair back to normal. I don't love that she's wearing a white, really bright white dress.
Yeah.
I can't think of any girls in high school that wore white dresses to dance. It was very bridal looking. Also, her gloves are wrong for her sleeve length. She should have been wearing gloves at least to her elbows. She had little like wrist gloves on, and no, they weren't the right gloves. Sabrina finds Harvey and he's relieved to see her.
She mentions that he shaved, and Harvey's like, yeah, I shaved for the 2nd time this month, and it's becoming a real pain.
Oh, Harvey. He asks about his poster, and she runs back into the bathroom to conjure one, but is held up by a girl hairspraying her bangs. I had bangs very similar to that at one point in my early years. The girl finally leaves, and she conjures a poster board, but her finger stalls when she tries to decorate it. Instead, she uses lipstick to write "Go Harvey Kink" on it. But also, when she's writing on it in the lipstick, the last K, it breaks off before the last K, but then when she takes it and shows it to Harvey, the last K is very darkly written. Continuity error. Harvey's not really impressed by the poster, but at least she tried. Zelda finds Hilda playing with her laptop, where she accidentally poofs them into the back of a car driven by Eric Estrada. Hilda can admit when she's wrong. She loves the laptop.
I wonder how much they paid Eric Estrada just to sit in this car model for maybe a minute max.
Yeah, like I don't even know if he was actually in there with them or if they green screened the women in, just used one clip of him because it all looked very green screeny. Libby is making fun of Sabrina's poster, which she calls a cry for help. Sabrina and Harvey dance, but when he dips her, she sees the drill sergeant's face in the disco ball. Sabrina screams, and Harvey quickly pulls her upright, asking if he stepped on her toes. Libby comments that she dances as well as she draws, which she didn't draw, Libby. She wrote some letters, so you can't comment. We don't know. She didn't attempt to draw.
Oh, did you catch Harvey's shade at the end of the last scene? Where he's like, I think they offer art classes in summer school.
Yes. Also, not everybody needs to be good at everything. It's okay. She's already clearly very good at writing and at science and at math. It's okay that her art skills aren't there, you know? She'd be too perfect. Sabrina's skirt disappears and turns into camo pants, but nobody notices that. And she runs out of the cafeteria with Harvey behind her, finding her lost boot. Very Cinderella-esque. Sabrina is back at drill camp, scrubbing the floors with a toothbrush, or pointing at a toothbrush that's scrubbing the floors, while the drill sergeant reads off her infractions. She's almost done when Fink walks in with muddy boots on purpose. So Sabrina zaps toilet paper to hang from her pants as she leaves again. The sergeant announces that her 2 days are up. She woohoos, but if she misses her second question, she'll have to go back for another year. The aunts show up to get her, and the sergeant runs away screaming when he sees Hilda. Sabrina is finally back home and goes to study the magic handbook. After she catches up with Harvey and Valerie, the aunts stop her and make her look through the things she's doing to figure out what she can cut out in order to better balance her responsibilities. She agrees to stay on the paper but give up being editor. Her aunts also tell her that she needs to cut back on Harvey, but she refuses. Hilda points out that there's something larger at stake, but she can't give her specifics.
Because Zelda will hurt her. Her exact words.
Again, Hilda's the one showing so much more compassion for Sabrina. But Sabrina can't give up Harvey. She's already been a lousy girlfriend. And then starts to realize that maybe he deserves better. Sabrina talks to Salem in her room about how to break the news to Harvey. She practices in her mirror and conjures an image of Harvey doing a streetcar named Desire shirt-ripping scene while screaming no. Sabrina can't do that to Harvey. Salem tells her to whip up a no pain spell then. She looks it up in her handbook, but it looks hard and has a lot of ingredients. Salem takes her to the laptop and she starts making no pain pudding.
Which Salem's lab goggles. Loved it. Looks so cute in them. They choose the pudding because fruitcake is better for breaking up with retirees, which made me laugh.
Maybe Zelda used that when she broke up with the guy from the nursing home.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to him? Maybe he's dead.
It's been a few months. He could be dead. She has to add in hydrochloride, ammonia phosphate, raisins, and glycerin. But something goes wrong because she ends up in a car with Eric Estrada. Sabrina is at lunch with Harvey, giving him an excuse about what happened at the dance. She offers him some butterscotch pudding and insists that he eats it now, which Harvey says he can't because his coach says, if you eat pudding at lunch, you're a pudding on the field or something like that. And then he eventually gives in and he just downs it in one gulp, but questions whether pudding should fizz. Sabrina tells him they need to see less of each other. We hear a twinkle noise and Harvey says, okay. She also says she can't go to the game on Friday and he should invite someone else. He turns around and invites the first girl he sees. Harvey leaves and Valerie asks how he took it. He's fine, but Sabrina could use a pudding.
Sabrina also throws some shade and says she can't, go to the game and watch him not play.
Yeah.
And then she's just barely met Valerie, very little interaction, and is already saying, I'm gonna break up with him, don't tell him, I'm gonna do it. You just met this girl and you were sort of iffy on whether you liked her or not, Sabrina.
Well, I mean, when she comes back from witch camp, one of her first phone calls, besides Harvey, is to Valerie. So they became besties real fast. She's trying to fill that Jenny-shaped void.
Oh, Jenny.
Sabrina resigns as editor to Mrs. Quick. She accepts and announces there was actually another editorial that was really good. Valerie's. Valerie accepts, but she's going to be sick. Salem quizzes Sabrina on her handbook as she paces her room.
He's quizzing her on the gibbous moon and the effect it has on flying, which the gibbous moon is a lunar phase where more than half, but not quite all, of the visible surface of the moon is illuminated by sunlight. Thus, it is a stage between half full and full moon. And the answer to Salem's exact question that Sabrina gives is that when flying during a gibbous moon, there can be a reduced visibility due to glare.
The quizmaster arrives and it's time for her second chance quiz. He takes her to the most fun place in the other realm, the gray space.
Or as some people like to call it, Decorator White.
She has to show him the real Sabrina. She starts conjuring colors that fly around and land on the wall. Finally, magic is fun again. The quizmaster gives a speech about the fun and responsibilities of having magic before handing her the results. She passed.
With flying colors. Also, those flying colors were so 90s, Nickelodeon-esque.
Mm-hmm. On her way out, she zaps his white suit to make it more colorful in celebration. And he says, I like that girl. Salem is sobbing as the ants get rid of all the things he purchased with their money. Zelda makes him a deal where he can keep the money he took, but he has to invest it. Sabrina runs into the kitchen, celebrating that she passed. She reads her results out loud and realizes she only got her learner's permit. She's going to be tested on and off for the next year. She won't get her actual license until she's 18. Sabrina is very upset. She can't cut back on Harvey for a whole year, but the news gets worse. If she doesn't pass, she'll become completely mortal. If she studies, she could lose Harvey. If she doesn't, she could lose her powers.
Dun dun dun.
In our end tag, Harvey is at the front door offering Sabrina a combat boot that he thinks is hers. She doesn't think so, but suddenly he freezes. The quizmaster appears and tells her to just go with it. It's a little something from him, and Harvey won't remember a thing. Harvey unfreezes and asks Sabrina to try it on. He puts the boot on Cinderella style, and music starts playing. They're transported back to the dance, just the two of them dancing together, and then Harvey steps on her foot.
So I'm assuming we'll see the quizmaster maybe a couple times?
Yes, quizmaster will be around a bunch in this season.
Okay. Is it the same consequences if she continues to fail questions? Do we know? Or is it just random quizzes?
It's just random quizzes to get her ready for her bigger test.
So there's no you're going back to camp at this point, now that she has the permit.
Yeah, although there will definitely be other different consequences as she messes up spells and things like that she'll have to learn lessons on. This was a short episode for us.
It was very short.
So sorry about that, but also not sorry if you wanted a shorter episode.
Then have to listen to us talk.
Congratulations, or you're welcome if you wanted it shorter. Next episode, we'll be back with a regular full-length episode. It's season 2, episode 3, Dummy for Love.
Gross.
What do you think this one's going to be about, Sky?
Sabrina's going to be all sad that she has to cut back on Harvey, and she's going to try and do the best of both worlds, and it's going to fail, and she's going to be a big old dummy. Also, high school romances, not worth it, Sabrina.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, but maybe not. I think you're going to be surprised.
Are we going to get ventriloquism? Because dummy.
Yes, kind of.
Yes!
I'm reading through some of the stuff about it right now, so I can remember everything. I remember, like, the major plot points.
So, Sabrina's going to be sad and mopey, and we get some sort of ventriloquism, it sounds like, with the dummy. Look at me.
Good job.
Getting in these writers' brains. I'm figuring out how they think.
All right. Until next time, please like, share, rate, and subscribe to this podcast. You can email us your thoughts at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and other social media at somethingwitchypod, except for TikTok, which is something.witchy.pod. Until next time,
stay magical.